Hello, my name is Grian, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make a fountain in Minecraft. Now, I'm going to be using some specific designs here, which I don't normally do, but hopefully you can get the picture through my techniques. So the first thing I'm going to do is just show you what a general concept of a fountain looks like. Most people are tempted to go for a design very similar to this. A stereotypical small circle with a single pillar in the middle. Now this is okay, there's nothing wrong with this design, and in fact you could even take some barrier blocks and make it so that you can't actually see the water and it looks like it's spouting up the top and then just sort of floats there. You know, there's a little extra detail. Now that's fine and everything, but we can take it one step further. We can go for the larger scale design, and what's important here is how you lay it out. As you can see, I'm planning the 4 points of mine, because one thing that I find is, although fountains do look good if they're circular, if you have a larger shape, you can make it more shaped. You can add curves, you can add these right angles, and you can make anything. So I've gone for this sort of inlaid circle with a square kind of deal, and you could go for anything. This is just the general idea. So you want to lay that out, make a wall, raise it up a couple of blocks or however big you want your fountain to be, and then build a center spire. Now this is kind of easy. It's got a normal block right in the center all the way to the top, and then you create a base, decorate it with whatever you want. You can copy my design block for block if you wish, and you can use cobblestone wall and that kind of thing. And once you've done that, you want to create a kind of simple bowl-shaped thing on top of your main spire. This is the centerpiece of the fountain, and you're utilizing the half block and the staircase to try and create this circular bowl, which we are now going to decorate. Hopefully I'm taking it slowly enough for you to try and get the idea for the design of this. Now, utilizing half slab, I can leave that very slight gap in between those two layers to create a very aesthetically pleasing detail without making it look overly complicated. I then go ahead and stick some more cobblestone walls on the top, and you get this nice finished goblet shaped fountain. But we're not quite finished. We're going to raise it up a second layer with a slightly smaller bowl on the top so that we can put a singular piece of water which will then cascade over the first bowl and then onto the second one and then into the fountain. And you can see that shape is actually really elegant. It looks nice. The water cascades really nicely and cleanly. One of the problems with fountains is when the water falls, it's very thick. If you have it cascading down all together, it doesn't look too good, but by separating it, you can really get the ideal flow that you want the water to have. So, while I was saying that, I've just gone ahead and made these little details around my fountain, and then filled in the rest with water. And as you can see, it looks pretty good. All you could do now is add some lily pads, add some vines if you want, and that's kind of it. The two most important things about the fountain is the shape of the centerpiece and the shape of the fountain itself. It doesn't have to be circular. And then you could go ahead and detail the little bits of walls around it if you wanted. And that's kind of it. You could do the smaller version or the larger version depending on what you wanted, but that is the basic on how to make a cool fountain. And of course you could improve it in several ways, and perhaps you could come up with some of your own ideas. However, perhaps the block palette is a little bit grey, but I wanted to really get across the shape and the design process behind it. The base shape, the bit in the middle, the centerpiece, and perhaps adding these little more details in the sides or, you know, wherever. But, you know, you could really take this in any direction. Or you could take it back to the rather simple, you know, geyser kind of thing. Overly simplified, doesn't look too good. You want something nice and impressive and full of shape. So, that's it from me. I guess all there is to say is thank you very much for watching my very short tutorial, but I hope helpful tutorial on how to make a Minecraft fountain. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you'd like to see something similar or you have some ideas, I'm always down to hear more and more suggestions. Thank you very much for watching. Goodbye!